Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's masterclass, which is called College Terms 101, Speaking the Language of College. It was originally called College Admissions, but I think that there is just too much valuable information to throw at you all at once. So that's why I've decided to split this up into two masterclasses. Okay. So with that, this part one is about college terminology. Okay. And, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. And I don't consciously think about the difference between terms like major or minor or concentration. And certainly, undergraduate has always been a part of my vocabulary. So my brain has compressed thousands of hours of experience into instinct. Okay. And the challenge is that it's not what I don't know, it's that I know so much that I've forgotten what it's like to be a beginner. And so that's why this masterclass is just so critical and so important to convey to the world. Because when you're an eighth grader rising into high school as a ninth grader, as you've heard me say, the earlier you start, the earlier you are going to be successful in getting to where you want to be. You may not be able to understand why you're doing the things that you're doing today to set you up for success by senior year. It's very obtuse and abstract for you right now. But if you can understand that there is a methodology to this, and if you can dedicate time and concentration in doing what's being presented, then you are going to be so far ahead of where you would have been if you didn't know all of this information. So, starting with college terminology is extremely important. Okay. And part two will be college admissions. All right, terminology, because it too has its own language. So, medical doctors have their own language and lawyers have their own language. So, college admissions is a completely different animal as well. So, with really every field, there is a language all its own. And if you understand that language ahead of time, then you could certainly plan better for your future. Okay. So, how many of these terms have you heard before? Okay. Undergraduate versus graduate, need blind, liberal arts college, deferred, demonstrated interest, early decision, early action, restricted early action, direct admit, concentration, co-op or honors program versus an honors college. If you don't understand all of these terms, that's okay. This is what this masterclass is about. But by the time we're done with both of these masterclasses, you will not only have heard these terms, but you'll know what they mean. And your friends will be asking you what the heck the college tour info session was all about and what the heck were they talking about and what they said. All right. So you will become the expert after these masterclasses. All right. So let's start talking about different types of colleges. All right. And education plan paths for post high school. And this is an important thing because, again, where are you headed, right? And as owner of College Driven and founder, you know this of me. I am not about best colleges. I'm about best fit colleges. So the best college isn't the one everyone talks about. It's the one that best fits your goals, your interests, your learning style, your lifestyle, and the way that you look at your future. So you would, I think, be surprised as to how many different types of college terminologies there are out there to define a college. The first one is a public school, right? Public means that they are getting their funding, a majority of their funding, from the state. So an example of this would be Ohio State University. It would be University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, usually larger than other universities and colleges, and they offer lower tuition for in-state students. Okay. I think that the Ohio State University is, a real gem for Ohio residents. And not only do you have a reputable school with several programs that are highly ranked, but we get to enjoy the benefit of low cost tuition for a very high level education. So I do feel that every Ohio student should absolutely apply to the Ohio State University just because it's a really great option when you're doing that final decision in the spring. Okay, so that's public. Now, independent institutions, those that are funded primarily through tuition meaning what you pay for college, right? Donations, endowments, all of those are private universities, okay? So an example of that within Ohio would be Kenyon College or Denison University. Those are private universities. Case Western Reserve University is a private institution as well, as opposed to a Cleveland State or, like I said, the Ohio State University, or even Miami University, which is also public. Okay. So the next is national. So, what the heck is a national university, right? So, national is a term not so much given by colleges themselves, but rather by ranking institutions like US News and World Report. Okay. And they will rank colleges under the national heading versus the liberal arts heading. And these are two different institutions. A national university example would be Northwestern, for instance, or Purdue University. Okay, one being public, Purdue, one being private, Northwestern, right? And then there are liberal arts colleges. Liberal arts colleges would be, like I said, Kenyon College or Denison University or Colgate, Middlebury. Those are on a different ranking system. So, just as a side note, let's go ahead and make comparisons between a liberal arts college and a national university. Again, this isn't so much a part of the college's terminology, it is more a part of US News and World Report's ranking system. Okay, which I know is probably important to you as well. So, at a liberal arts college, typically classes are smaller in size than national universities. Okay. Now, national universities do start out very big in auditorium sized classrooms, but as you progress through your studies, you could very well, by junior year, have smaller class sizes. And with that, it could be like a liberal arts college in the fact that it is smaller class sizes. Okay. One thing to note, though, with national universities and larger classes, I don't want you to be scared off by those huge auditorium classrooms because several universities, they break down those groups into smaller activities, into teaching assistants, meaning teaching assistants are the people that work for the professor teaching the course, and they help out, sometimes even teaching the entire semester. And so that's another term that we'll get to next time. But as liberal arts colleges go, there is an undergraduate focus. So what I mean by undergraduate focus is these are the people that are coming in directly from high school, which is you, okay, and doing their 4 years on campus. Whereas a national university also houses a graduate school, okay, and graduate students are intermixed with undergraduate students. We will get to that definition soon as well. Liberal arts college are more of a broad-based education, okay? They're more generalized, right? And as opposed to national universities where they house colleges underneath the umbrella of a university. So at a liberal arts college, you could be studying the humanities, for instance, English lit, right? Economics. And those are under the college name. But at a national university, there could be several colleges within a university. So there could be a college of engineering. There could be a business school. There could be a English school under the umbrella of a national university. Okay. What's nice about a national university is that if you feel that you're there for engineering and you want to switch to business, okay, what that typically means is that you don't have to leave the university to pursue another direction with a specific college. So that's a benefit. In addition to that, liberal arts colleges, they are very much, faculty will be in your business. They care about you. You're a name, not a number. Okay. I'm not saying that's not the case at a national university, but it is certainly harder to be a name and not a number at a larger college. Okay. So more specialized programs will get you to be a name and not a number. But at the very, very beginning, you are just part of the herd at a national university. Whereas at a liberal arts college, there's a lot of nurturing, a lot of care. If you're not showing up for class at a liberal arts college, they will check on you to see if you're okay. At a national university, if you are not showing up for class, they don't even know you're missing. Okay, so that is really a cut and dry understanding between liberal arts colleges and national universities. Okay, so with that, going on, we have community college. Obviously, that is like our Tri-C, that is like our Lakeland Community College. Community college is very helpful for those who want to perhaps save on tuition, which is what you pay for college, right? These are 2-year colleges offering what's called associate degrees. Okay, so you can go for a 2-year degree, go 2 years to college, and you will get what's called an associate's degree. That is only available at community colleges. In addition to that, the money saving part I was talking about, that is about going to and attending community college, maybe doing your first 2 years of study there. Okay, so getting the English requirements out of the way, getting the math and science requirements out of the way so that you can get into what you're really truly interested in studying. That requires a transfer from community college into the college that you'll be graduating from with a 4-year degree. Okay, so with that, it's highly economical because you're not paying for 4 years at that university. Community college is definitely a very smart, very value-driven way to go if you want to pursue that route. Okay, then you have honors college. Now, an honors college is under the umbrella of a university or college. Okay, and the honors college is a special academic opportunity within a college or university for high achieving students. Why it is separated out as an honors college is because these kids are they are attending perhaps a large university, national university, but they are handled differently. They are handled with kid clubs, okay? You are kind of separated out from the rest of the students at the school. You may have a special dorm that you are residing in, that you're living in amongst other kids that are in the honors college. It is kind of a stepped up version for that university. So think of it as everybody on your honor roll or dean's list. You guys are kind of all together, you know, living, eating, and residing together as a collective. Okay. And there are several benefits in being admitted into your university's honors college. One of them being is that you basically have first dibs on the classes that you want to take. So that's something to consider as well. I always say that if you're interested in the university, there's usually a separate application for the honors college. Just go ahead and do that application as well. Go for it. And you can decide later, if you do end up going to that college, whether or not you want to be a part of that honors college or not. Okay. Then there are international universities. I really do not think that there should be a limitation of border for you when considering colleges and universities that you're going to be applying to later. Okay. So there's University of St. Andrews. There's Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland. I mean, these colleges, yes, they're located outside of the United States, but many offer programs that are taught in English, and some can even cost less than US colleges. Okay. One of the biggest misconceptions I feel is that there's a single best type of college out there. All right. And there isn't. I mean, a large public university can be perfect for one student, while another may thrive at a small liberal arts college or even an international university. Okay. The goal isn't to find the highest ranked school, it's to find the environment where you'll grow, succeed, and feel most at home. That's where you're going to thrive. Okay. So many students don't realize that they have far more options than simply choosing between Ohio State and Case Western Reserve University. Okay. So the next is military academies. Okay. We've got West Point for Army. We've got the Air Force Academy. We've got the Naval Academy. We've got the Merchant Marines. I mean, we've got all of that that is available to you. Okay. Some students, they might thrive at military academies. Others want the leadership opportunities, perhaps. And so that is really a career choice at that point if you are choosing a military academy. Okay. And what's really great about the military academies is that there is an exchange between you and that university, that academy, and the government. Okay. So you will attend for free, but in return, you will give time in that sector of what you've chosen: Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines, what have you. Okay. And that particular time frame is determined by the military academy that you attend. Okay. So maybe you're thinking, well, maybe I don't want a career in military. However, I want the leadership opportunities. Okay. And I really want to give some time to the government if I can get a special rate. So there are the reserves for each one of those segments of the military. And that is, again, a special pathway program that colleges have. Not every college has every single sector available on campus. So that is definitely college specific. But this is an opportunity where you can get that discipline and leadership training, okay? And you have a minimal payback of time within that military segment, okay? There is a scholarship that ROTC does offer, and that scholarship could be as much as paying the full ride for the tuition, meaning how much it costs to take those classes on campus. Okay. Then you have conservatories. Okay. This is for our art students. So whether you're in music or dance or theater, okay, many colleges and universities do have departments that specialize in music, dance, and theater, but there are other colleges that this is all they do. Okay, so for instance, Curtis in Philadelphia, that is a music school that is $0 if you get in and attend. Okay, and you're just working on your music. Berklee College of Music in Boston is also another where music, dance, and theater are being taught there, but again, can't really make comparison to like, a Case Western Reserve or the Ohio State University, because these are specialized colleges that could fit you perfectly. Juilliard would be another example. Okay. You can't compare Juilliard, right, to New York University. They're in two different boats. And so that's why you can't rank them against each other. And then, of course, you have specialty schools. So there are schools that teach cooking, how to become a chef, a world renowned chef, right? There are schools that teach electrician um, work, that teach plumbing. So those are actually really taking off recently because the value of a college degree has somewhat diminished. The return on investment hasn't been as high as 20 years ago. So it seems like these specialty schools are really on the rise for people that are thinking, maybe college might not be for me. And if I can learn how to be a great electrician, there could be a very good return very quickly for you in that arena. And then, of course, we have apprenticeships. So there are several manufacturing companies around me here in Solon, one of them being a company called Kennametal. And if you put in an application and are hired at Kennametal, you could be part of their apprenticeship program. And this apprenticeship program pays you from day one, and you are on a path, on a journey of how to be a machinist, for instance. And so apprenticeships are also another way that you can continue your education beyond high school. Okay, so undergraduate versus graduate. I'm going to tell you this. This is where the concept for this master class first developed. Okay, I was at a local high school. I was invited in to talk to their scholars cohort about highly selective colleges. And like I said, I'm just rattling off words that I know that have become part of my language, part of my vocabulary. And one of those was undergraduate. And a girl raised her hand, God bless her, and said, I don't understand. What is undergraduate? And I was a little floored. I was a little floored because I was thinking to myself, wow, yeah, we throw these terms around: undergraduate, graduate school, right? And perhaps you are on a journey where you're just beginning to understand what this whole college thing is about. So, because of that, this is why this masterclass was born. So, let's talk about undergraduate versus graduate. So, an undergraduate is what you're going for. Okay. If you are in high school and you're planning to attend university when you get out, you will be looking at undergraduate schools. You will be considered an undergraduate. This is extremely important to understand when you are doing research for any schools that you might be interested in, because you want to make sure that the links that you are looking at, that you are researching and reviewing, are for undergraduate studies. Okay. So, Northwestern, for instance, you might be thinking, oh, I want to study business at Northwestern. So you go to their Northwestern University website and you start looking at their business school, but you don't realize that Northwestern doesn't offer business as an undergraduate study. It's only for graduate students, so it doesn't apply to you. Undergraduate is going to be your first bachelor's degree. You typically get this in 4 years, and some examples might be business, engineering, biology, English lit, right? Chemistry. Those are undergraduate, meaning you have no college experience yet, but you are working towards it, and hopefully you're on the 4-year plan. Then we have graduate, okay? So graduate school means this is the education that you are earning after you've received your bachelor's degree as an undergraduate, okay? So degree examples could be this, all right? As a graduate student, you are either working on your master's degree, meaning it could be a master's of business administration. It could be a master's in the arts. It could be a master's in science. And these master's programs take between 1 to 3 years, depending how diligent and motivated you are in getting it done. Okay. Only after you have received a master's degree could you then go and work on your PhD, meaning your doctorate. People will call you doctor even though you are not a medical doctor, but you still get the title of doctor. Those can take anywhere from 4 to 6 years. Okay. And to get your PhD, your doctorate, that typically requires that you're working on a very specific project. You will have a thesis and dissertation that you will have to present to committee to receive your PhD. That's why it takes years for this research and study to occur. Again, you don't get your PhD until you get your master's. You don't get your master's until you get your bachelor's as an undergraduate. Okay. Then graduate school could also mean getting professional degrees. Okay. So after your undergraduate bachelor's degree, your first college degree, you might be earning your degree in medical school to become a doctor. You might be earning your law degree, okay, to become an attorney, or dental school as a graduate school to become a dentist, or even veterinary school. Okay. These are all graduate schools, meaning you don't go to these until you have received your bachelor's degree from your undergraduate studies. Okay. Then the only other thing after undergraduate is you could be getting a postgraduate diploma or a certification. These are more professional certifications, and that could take anywhere from 6 to 9 months. But those certifications are typically coming from the graduate school of that university. Okay. So, what kind of undergraduate degrees could I be getting? Okay. If I'm an undergraduate, meaning that I'm first time I'm going to college, it's first time. Okay. And I'm going to be there 4 years. All right. What am I getting? Okay. Well, understand this, right? If you were at a community college and you did a 2 year degree, that is what's called an associate's degree, AA. This is now what we're talking about for bachelor's degrees. So the different types of bachelor's degrees are what are on this page. Here's what I want to again emphasize. A bachelor's of arts degree is not better than a bachelor's of science degree. And a bachelor's of science degree is not better than a bachelor's of arts degree. It all depends on what your goals are, what fits you best. Okay. So let's talk about a BA. Okay. Colleges love using acronyms. They love using just letters to represent all these different things. So a BA is called a Bachelor of Arts degree. And typically, this offers more flexibility and a broader liberal arts education. Remember those national versus liberal arts college? Liberal arts colleges, typically, for the most part, you will be receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree there. Okay, so what encompasses receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree? Well, you're going to be more in the humanities. Okay, you're going to be studying more of the English. You're going to be studying more literature. You could be studying more the sciences, but not really heavily in STEM. Okay. Typically, with a bachelor's of arts degree, the requirement is at least 2 years of a foreign language beyond what you've done in high school. Okay. There are social sciences that you're going to have to take, psychology, sociology, right? Maybe even economics, okay? But common majors, people who get a Bachelor of Arts degree are typically coming out with psychology majors, English majors, history majors, political science, communications. Those all are typically under the heading of a Bachelor of Arts degree, okay? Next, we have a BS, not what you're thinking. It's Bachelor of Science degree. Okay, so this is more heavily STEM, right? Usually requires more coursework in the math, science, technical subjects. This is what engineers are graduating with. Okay, so there's labs, there's research components that are ingrained in your 4 years of study. Okay, common majors that you could be coming out with a BS degree would include biology or chemistry, engineering, computer science, any kind of mathematics. Okay. In addition to that, you have what's called a BBA degree. This is for those business majors out there. Okay. Sometimes, right, business majors will come out with a Bachelor of Science degree, but some universities offer a Bachelor of Business Administration, BBA. So University of Michigan Ross School of Business is like this. They offer a BBA, which is really a more generalized business degree. Okay. And it's focused on really career development in business. So common coursework could include finance, marketing, accounting, management, business analytics, operations. It's an entire conglomerate of and collection of business stuff that's going on in the world, and you touch upon each of these areas in a generalized BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration. Other kinds of bachelor degrees include a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Remember the conservatories that we talked about, music, theater, dance? Those people that are going to a conservatory to practice and hone their skills as an artist are graduating with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree. The music majors, Bachelor of Music Arts degree. Now, there are specific bachelor's programs. One of them is nursing. Okay, so if you're a nursing student, okay, you will not be graduating with a Bachelor of Science, even though it's a whole bunch of science that you are definitely learning about. But you will graduate with a BSN, a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree. Okay, that's a completely different animal from that. Then, of course, you have a Bachelor of Architecture, and then you've got combo programs, right? So if you're on a website, a college website, and you see opportunity for BSMS or BSMD or BSDO programs, what is that? Okay, so let me explain. So if a college offers any kinds of these combo programs, what they're saying is that you can come to our university and you can spend more than 4 years here. You can spend perhaps 5 years here, okay? And we offer what's called a BSMS. So you can stay at our university, you can get your Bachelor's of Science in 3 years, and then you just stay with us, and you will be in our graduate school program and take those last 2 years, and you will earn a Master's of Science. Okay, so you'll get 2 degrees in 5 years, and yet you don't have to change schools. Okay, other than undergraduate going into graduate school. All right, so that's a pretty cool deal. For those of you that are pre-meds out there, there are things called BSMD or BSDO programs. Okay. BSMD is, again, same deal. Okay. If you get into their BSMD program, what that means is that, hey, you can come here with us. You can do your undergraduate, perhaps graduate in 3 to 4 years. And then you can do the next 4 years under our medical school, our graduate school for medicine. DO is Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine. Same deal there. Okay. So one university may award, understand this because it gets even more confusing, right? Some universities, they may award a Bachelor of Arts degree in in psychology, while another awards a Bachelor of Science in psychology. But both prepare students well. It's just a matter of, if you're thinking Bachelor of Science, understand it's going to be more math requirements. It's going to be more science requirements. Whereas Bachelor of Arts, it's going to be more of a humanities, social sciences that you're going to be taking, less of the math and science, hard science, and there will be a foreign language requirement. Okay. So don't choose a college because it awards a BS instead of a BA or vice versa. Okay. I want you to choose the college because it offers the academic experience, opportunities, and an environment that fit you best. We're always coming back to best fit. Best fit, always, always, always. Okay. So another thing that we should note, okay, because I don't want you to be confused as you start your research with these universities when you're on their website. Okay. There are some difficult universities that have to, be the outlier. Okay. So here's what I want you to know is that a BA, a BS, a BBA, all these other Bs for bachelors. Okay. That is the typical. Okay. But if you're on, for instance, Princeton's website, okay, Princeton will not have a Bachelor of Arts degree. They will indicate it as an AB. Okay, an AB. All right. And what is that? Well, they are a very traditional college. And when I say they're a traditional college, what I mean is they're still putting it down as Latin. Okay. So they are designating their Bachelor of Arts degree as an AB degree because they are going back to the Latin Artium Baccalaureus. Okay. But understand this, it's just Latin for Bachelor of Arts degree. Okay. Harvard, the same way. Okay. They are incorporating to an SB, meaning Bachelor of Science degree, but again, in Latin. Okay. You will also, for instance, at Princeton, you will see something called a BSE degree. That is Bachelor of Science in Engineering degree. Okay. So I do not want you to get confused. MIT is another one that goes back to the historic use of the Latin degree names. So their BS is going to be an SB degree, which is just Bachelor of Science. Okay. So I'm hoping that clears things up when you start looking at all of these nomenclatures that perhaps you're unaware of. Okay. So how do you study in college? What the heck are you doing? Right? Like, you're there in college. What's a major? What's a minor? What's a double major? Concentration. What are these terms? Okay. And a major is your primary area of academic study. It's why you're there. It is what you indicated on your common application when you applied. It's the subject that you'll spend the most of your time learning about. All right. So a major is not a degree. A major is a subject. The degree is your bachelor's degree. And whether that's Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Music, a BBA, that's going to be up to you as to what college you're coming from within the university. But the major is your subject area. Okay. So think of your major as your academic specialty. All right. And you usually declare your major sometime, first or second year, depending on timing. And your major determines many of the courses that you're going to be taking. Okay. Your major does not lock you into one career for the rest of your life. I want you to understand that. Okay. So it does, however, give a direction when you are applying to college. Okay. And I've got to be honest, as a college admissions coach, I always advise my students that you have to pick a major. Do not go undecided. All right. You could always change later once you're at the college, but colleges really like to see that you have some kind of an understanding of what you're interested in and you're not just, flailing around. Okay. So I think that is a very, very important concept to understand. All right. Many students also understand this, that they change their major at least once during college. Okay. And that's okay. College is also about discovering what truly interests you. And that's what this is all about, really. Okay. Then we have a minor. What the heck's a minor? You don't need a minor. Okay. You could go all through college and get your bachelor's degree with just having a major. All right. But a minor is a secondary area of study that complements your major, right? It requires fewer courses than the major, allows you to explore another area of interest that you couldn't get under the major, and it could make you more versatile, actually. So, examples might be you have a business major, but maybe a Spanish minor. Okay, you couldn't give up that foreign language, Spanish, so you want a minor in it. Or maybe you have an engineering major, but you really love music, okay, and you didn't want to lose that. So maybe you minor in music, which allows you to take the classes on campus that are under that heading of music. Okay. A minor says, I'm interested in the subject, but it doesn't require as many classes as my major. And I certainly didn't want to focus all my time on this one particular thing that I kind of find interesting, right? A double major is completing the requirements of two different majors and earning one bachelor's degree. Okay, so it does require more coursework. It does require planning with an advisor. And it sometimes means that you will not finish in 4 years. You may have to take a couple extra semesters to get that other requirement of that other major under your belt as you're going through school. Okay, so students should pursue a double major because it aligns with their interests, not because it looks better. All right, so for example, a double major may be finance with computer science. Okay, computer science was maybe more of an interest than just having it as a minor, taking a couple classes in computer science. No, you were equal with finance. Okay, marketing and data analytics would be another example of a really good double major you can do. Okay, so you might want someone. Why might someone choose two majors? Because you just can't get the one other subject into a minor type concept. You want more. Okay. And then finally, we have concentration. What is concentration? That is a specialized area of focus within the major. Okay. This is a prime example would be at Ross School of Business at University of Michigan, where you can only get a bachelor's of business administration. Okay, you're not going to major in anything, right? You can't major in finance under the Ross School. You can't major in marketing under the Ross School. You get a generalized business education, but they offer what's called concentrations. So at Ross, you can concentrate on finance, on marketing, on accounting, on supply chain, entrepreneurship. They have concentrations where your electives will be within the area. That is your concentration. Okay. So your major tells employers the general field you studied, and your concentration will tell them where you developed deeper expertise. Okay. So, just to give an analogy of this, okay, it is this. Think of your education like ordering at an ice cream shop. All right. Your major is your flavor. Okay. The concentration might be the mix in, right? The Oreo cookies. Okay. A minor is going to be your second scoop on top of your original scoop, which is never as large as the first scoop because you're down into the cone, right? So there's always going to be more of the major than the second scoop of the minor. And the double major, you're holding two full cones, baby. You are double fisting the ice cream cones. They are equal, and that's what it is. You're double fisting. Okay, those two full cones. All right. So there you go on that. Here's the thing. If you major in business at 5 different colleges, you're not going to get exactly the same education. All right. So one school may offer business and finance or marketing or accounting, whereas another may offer in international business or sports management or real estate, even, right? So every business school is not created equally. It is about understanding what you want to do. And that is why it's important to do your research and really understand what you are looking for in a college, because you do have to find that intersection of that. Okay. Here's the thing, college is so much more about life than it is classes, really. Okay, this is where you're going to develop yourself beyond your classes. So dorms are where you're living. Meal plans are what plan you are on, where you're going to eat. Okay, so when you're looking at colleges, colleges will say, here's the costs. There's fees. Okay, fees. Sometimes if you're in an engineering school or a business school, there's an additional fee to attend that, or nursing, additional fee. But there's tuition, which is what you pay for the classes that you're going to take. Now, you can't take, you know, 20 classes and think that there's only one tuition fee. Okay. That tuition fee usually means that you can take per semester probably about 18 credits. Typically, each class is about 3 credits. Labs are usually about 1 credit. So there is a maximum that you can take credit wise that is covered under your tuition. You don't get a break on tuition if you take less than the maximum. If you want to take more than the allowed credits under the tuition payment, then you just are charged extra per credit hour that you've taken. Okay, so you're going to see tuition. And then the other cost element is called room and board. So room is the dorms and board are the meal plans. Okay, when you're trying to evaluate how much a college is going to cost you, make sure that you are putting in the highest, most costly meal plan that they offer. Why? Because that is typically the rule for freshmen coming in. If you're a freshman, you will be paying the most expensive meal plan because they want to make sure that you're not starving. Okay, so they just give it all to you. So understand that. Okay, what's nice about meal plans is that it's not just about eating on campus. They give you additional opportunities to go off campus at partner restaurants. There could be Subway, Chick-fil-A, right? And you could use your meal plan tickets at those institutions as well. At least if you're interested in that, ask about that. Okay. Dorms also for room, they vary on the type of dorm. Okay. You might have just a room all by yourself, right? That is going to cost more than rooming with 3 other people. Okay. So this is something that you should start to think about as to what your preference would be. Resident assistant. What is a resident assistant? This is an RA. An RA is the person that's in charge of your dorm. So think of it as a hotel concierge, right? If you're having problems, if you need to talk to someone, if your roommate is too loud, you go and you talk to your resident assistant, and they will help you work things out. Okay. Greek life. What is Greek life? Here we're talking about fraternities and sororities. Not every college has the opportunity to participate in Greek life. Fraternities are for the boys, and sororities are for the girls. And they are very philanthropic, sororities especially. As far as fraternities go, they could be the social avenue, right, at the college. Maybe the fraternities are responsible for throwing all the parties on campus. Okay. So, you have to decide whether or not you want to be part of the brotherhood or the sisterhood of Greek life, fraternity versus sorority. Sometimes to get most involved in campus activities, this is the way to go. If you want to, really have access to friends immediately, then Greek life could be for you. There is a process to it. Okay. There's something called rushing. Okay. And during rush week, you're being evaluated by many of the fraternities and sororities that you put a bid into, and they will decide whether or not you fit their motto, their mold that they're looking for in expanding their sisterhood and brotherhood. Okay. Then there's athletics. All right. And in athletics, there's varsity. These are typically recruited athletes from high school. Okay. You're not going to be playing at that level unless you've been recruited. But I want you to realize that if you are into athletics, there are other avenues that you can take. Okay. There's club sports, which is typically also a tryout type of situation. Several club athletics on several college campuses are really competitive. Okay. And they are traveling to other universities to play them in their club division. And so that could really be something where, okay, maybe you were in a recruited athlete, but you still take it very, very seriously. So club sports might be something that you would want to look into joining or trying out for. But then there's intramurals. And intramurals, it's totally just for fun. Okay, it's open to all students. There's not going to be any travel involved. Teams are formed, more for like, think recreation and fitness, right? And for that, like I said, it's just for fun. It's great to meet other people that like the same sport you do. And there really isn't a lot of pressure to show up at every game or every practice, if there even are practices. All right, then you've got student organizations. And student organizations, I mean, there could be between 200 to 800 plus clubs on a college campus. All right, there is everything to do on a college campus. And if it doesn't exist, go ahead and start it. All right, and add to student organizations. It could be anything from academic clubs. So after service organizations, there are also several cultural clubs that you can get involved with, okay, and religious organizations as well. If you are a person that goes to church every Sunday and you are thinking about a college, see if that congregation is nearby and in walking distance or in public transit distance for you to continue that. Going away to college shouldn't be an entirely different lifestyle change for you. Okay. It should be an extension of who you are and delving deeper into who you are becoming. Okay. So if it's something that's important to you, then you really shouldn't be giving that up when you go off to college. that just means that that college may not be a best fit for you. Okay. There's also hobby clubs. Oh, how many knitting clubs there are out there, right? Any kind of hobby you have, you will probably find an organization on campus to support that. Okay. Of course, there's student government as well. I think one of the biggest takeaways from this entire screen is that if you are an athlete, understand this: you don't have to be a varsity athlete to continue playing sports in college. I think that's a really important takeaway here. And depending on your interest and your commitment, you can choose between club versus intramurals. Okay? All right. So, why do we go to college? Because we want to get a job when we get out, right? So, career building opportunities. These are words that you'll be seeing as part of promises that colleges make, okay? Because a college education isn't just about earning that degree, right? It's about taking advantage of those opportunities that prepare you for a successful career. So, you may be interested in study abroad. What is study abroad? That is you leaving the United States, taking classes at another university in another country that is associated with your home university. And you can take classes there. You can earn college credit towards your graduation requirements. And you're not only chipping away at that graduation requirement of the number of credits to graduate, but you're also immersing yourself in another culture. You're experiencing new and different of what is so out of your box, which I think is so, so important to get out of your comfort zone. And doing that in another country and still being supported by your home university is a really great opportunity. Okay. In addition, internships. So internships are going to be vital, I think, to getting a job when you get out of school these days. And that experience needs to happen pretty much every year once you're in college. Okay. Perhaps you can only dedicate a summer to it. That's what internships are. But then there's something called cooperative education. You may not know what this is. So, cooperative education is a structured program where students alternate semesters and have full-time employment at a company within their area of study, and they are also getting paid very, very well as an employee of that company. So you alternate semesters as you also work full time. So for instance, when you're co-oping, if you are working, you are not going to school. You're not going to class. When you are in class, you are not co-oping. Now, because of this alternating schedule, all right, where for instance, that usually starts junior year. So you'll do 2 years, first and second year, right? Then in your third year, you will take a semester, okay, and you will work full time, and that usually goes into a summer. And then you'll come back, you'll take classes, and then the next time you'll probably do a summer into a semester and then finish off the time required at your university. Because of this alternating of schedule, you will not be able typically to get done in 4 years. It's usually a 5-year program with 4 years being study and 1 year total being full-time employment at a corporation or business within your field of study. What's great about co-oping is that co-ops are often longer than internships. They're often more serious because you are a full-time employee there. And so they'll give you long-term projects to work on as opposed to just being there as like summer help and internship like that. But also it can lead to direct employment as well. So co-oping, I'm a huge advocate of co-oping. I was on the co-op program myself when I was at Case, and it is a very good, very formalized program that happens with the university, and I highly recommend it, especially today when experience, trumps academics any day of the week. Okay. Then there's undergraduate research. All right. Undergraduate research is going to be important for people that are perhaps going on to their master's degree or maybe on to medical school, for instance. And this will help strengthen your application for those programs. Um, you're going to be working alongside professors on research projects. And sometimes, if you're at a liberal arts college where there really are no graduate students because there's no graduate school, these research projects will be going to freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. You don't have to compete with grad students to get research opportunities. So there's another benefit to liberal arts colleges if it fits what you're actually trying to achieve. Then also career fairs. What are these career fairs that colleges talk about? Career fairs are opportunities where they designate certain days um, each semester or quarter, okay? And what it is they will invite companies in and they'll line them up, and you can go ahead and speak with each company that's present. You may even be able to coordinate an interview while they are on campus. So, career fairs are bringing companies together on campus to meet the students that are looking for jobs. All right, that's very important to have that be an event at your future college. But then there are also career centers, sometimes called career services. This is a building or office on campus where they help with your resume. They help with interview preparation, right? Internship searches, career coaching, job placement, anything that is going to place you and your degree and area of study into employment is what the Career Center does on your college campus. So, on your college tours, perhaps it would be beneficial to visit one of those areas as well to see how equipped they are and even ask how successful they've been in finding employment for their graduating class. Then there's the alumni network. The alumni network, what does that mean? These are all the people that have come before you at that college. They have already graduated. They are out in the world doing their thing, working. And yet this college has connections still with the people that have graduated from that school. And what's really great about the alumni network is that at the Career Center, typically you can do a search on maybe your designated field, maybe what you're looking for as far as employment. And they can hook you up with a person that's already graduated, that is out there in the world, that are seeking to hire more Buckeyes, right? Or more Hawks, okay? And so that is really a huge strength because when you come from the same place, there's a connection there, there's a relationship there already. And typically, people who graduate from their college like to bring in people that had the same experience that they had while in school. So that's an important factor as well. All right. Then partner companies. What are partner companies? Partner companies are companies that have partnered with the university, and the university feeds students for them to select out of for an internship, for a co-op program, okay, for employment. And there are companies that they will take a huge majority of brand new hires from that particular university. So partner companies are definitely something to ask about. And who are they? Okay. Then there's partner hospitals. If you are pre-med, if you are planning on going to graduate school, medical school, then you want to also ask, and this is for nurses as well, What are the partner hospitals? What are the surrounding hospitals that have a relationship with that university where you can be placed into a hospital setting, get experience, all of that? So partner hospitals is a great term to know if you're in that field. Okay, so other college buzzwords that you should be alerted to. All right, all of a sudden, this master class has now become how to read a college website like an expert. All right, because this is definitely what you are going to be seeing, what you're going to be reading on those websites. Experiential learning is a really, really big buzzword. Okay, what does experiential learning really mean? What it means is that they are teaching the subject experientially, meaning you are going to be doing things to learn. You are going to be have it be very hands-on. It's a hands-on learning situation. So instead of just primarily going to a lecture, listening to someone talk at you, then going to take the exam, this is more about, hey, get off your seat. This is what we're going to be doing so that you can learn the content. Colleges also have this word thrown around a lot, personalized education. What is personalized education? It is really taking you into consideration that they are all about you. You being happy at the college, you being, making sure that all your needs are met. And so when you're talking about this buzzword, personalized education, you need to ask the particular college, what does this mean to you? What's it look like to you if they're using this word? Inclusive environment is another buzzword that many colleges use. And again, you need to do your research as to what that entails. Is there an LGBTQ plus location? Is there an office to support that? Are there IEPs? Is there a tutoring center? What does inclusivity mean? Are there ramps to each and every building? If you are mobility uh, driven, right? If there is lack of that, how are you getting to class? So with that, that's extremely important as well. Another buzzword is collaborative learning. So when you see this and you are not a group project person, then this college is not for you, because everything that they're doing, this basically means project work, group work, collaborations, okay, talking, discussing, and doing in groups. So if you're not a group project person, collaborative learning is not your best fit college. Then we have global perspective, right? And what does global perspective actually mean when you see it on a college's website? What it means is that they have many, many international students on campus. International students will probably make 30 to 40% of students on campus. Global perspective is meaning that they are bringing these students in for a global opportunity of really understanding the world, right? A borderless type of experience. It also typically means that many of your professors may not be English speaking. Okay, so understand that when global perspective is highlighted, they take great pride in having people from all over the world join them on campus as a collective learning group. Leadership development. This is an interesting one as well. If you feel as if you would like to expand on your leadership, okay, this is an extremely important buzzword, because what that means is they have a program in place to develop your leadership. It's probably a separate program. Berry College in Georgia has a leadership development program. High Point University, very similar. So, this is an important one if this is what you'd also like to develop while in college, separate from your studies. Holistic review process. You will hear the word holistic, probably at every information session that you attend if you have signed up for one on your college tour. Holistic review process, in theory, means that they are evaluating you as a whole. Every part of your college application will be read and pieced together to form who they think you are and how you would fit into their university. So, holistic review process, however, does not mean that every single application is being reviewed as such. It means that after you've gone past the gatekeeper of AI in did you meet the minimum GPA requirement? Did you meet the minimum test score requirement? Once you get past that fence, that gate, then when as a collective, these are the applications that they are going to be taking seriously, then they will go in and review holistically your application as a whole and review every single section and every single application that ended up in that serious pile. Student-centered. What does student-centered mean? Student-centered can mean a whole bunch of things depending on the college using this buzzword. Student-centered could mean that everything is reliant on the student, that there is every activity is about the student. All the teaching is about the student-centered university. So because this can mean different things to different colleges, it is up to you to ask that college a meaning or definition of this buzzword. Interdisciplinary, what does that mean? Interdisciplinary means that you can cross major. You can, there are several colleges out there that love interdisciplinary studies. What does that mean? That you are not just focused in on one aspect of a major, that you want to double major, you want to minor in music while you're also majoring in engineering. That's interdisciplinary. Or you have finance with computer science. That's interdisciplinary. And there are several colleges that really highlight and want interdisciplinary study type students to be on their campus. So if one of the colleges that you are interested in really emphasize interdisciplinary studies, then it would probably be a really good idea if you talk about that or highlight that as a benefit of going to that college in your college application, if in fact you are interested in combining those different areas of study into one. Open versus core curriculum. So many of the colleges have graduation requirements, right? You have to take 4 years of an English, maybe 2 years of a science. If you're an engineer, 4 years of a science plus 3 labs, right? These are the core curriculum, okay? And you don't really get into your major of study until perhaps junior year going through into senior year. But open curriculum is different. Open curriculum means, you know what, I've got this area of study that I'm really interested in. There's not really a major at any university for that. So I want to work with an advisor at that college, and I want to develop basically my own curriculum, so that it complements my interest in my area of study. Those are different. Core curriculum is really great for, you know what, tell me what I got to do, give me some options on how to do it, and we're gold. Open curriculum is you just basically want to plan it out for yourself with an advisor, still getting to graduation requirements. And Brown University has, for instance, an open curriculum. Now, this is really for people that can really be disciplined to kind of get it done, to make sure that the open curriculum that they have planned out is still going to be processed through. But it really is kind of like a carte blanche of, okay, how do we make your interest work as a major? Let's develop that because it doesn't exist. But here is what really it comes down to. Colleges are going to use this best fit word. Coaches are going to use best fit. College counselors are going to use best fit. All right. And it really does come down to this. Okay. And if you've been here long enough, you understand that best fit is all of everything that I am about. And without best fit, you're going to be an unhappy college student. It's as simple as that. Okay. So it does require a lot of self-reflection. It requires going to college visits to see what you like and don't like. And if you just listen to what is inside of you, your head and your heart, then you should land exactly where you were meant to be. So the next Masterclass is on July 21st at 4 o'clock. Free code is College 201. And it is part 2 of this masterclass, college admissions terminology. Because like I said, it is just too much. Too much. One today was about college terms. Next will be college admissions terms. Okay. So I hope to see you all at the July 21st at 4 p.m. And if you go to the events, at collegedurban.com, you will find a link there to register and just enter code college201 for free access, and a Zoom link will be sent to you. Okay. If you have enjoyed this masterclass and you are not part of the Knowledge is Power Club, then perhaps you should consider it. The Knowledge is Power Club members have access to masterclasses for free every single month. And they're not just willy-nilly type of subjects, right? It is relevant to that month for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, okay? There are live Q&As with me directly every single month as to, whatever your questions are. We have a Slack community where you can get direct access to me, any kind of advice or questions, if it is beyond the live Zoom that we do every single month. And any other of our programs, you get the discounted rate for those programs. So for what you're getting, an extremely affordable way to get the knowledge that you need to be more powerful in your college admissions journey. Okay. So like I said, 24/7 support through Slack. You'll get these planning worksheets, and everything there will be guided upon. And you're going to get these webinars, and you will have access to every masterclass recording that we have done thus far for future reference, and monthly prep timelines as well. So if you're interested in joining the Knowledge is Power Club, go ahead and get this QR code, and it will take you to that site for even more additional information if you're considering. Okay. We also have free resources, both on Facebook, Instagram. YouTube has our office hours on wheels. Do not take that college tour unless you have downloaded our free guidebook, The Ultimate College Visit. Beautiful, wonderful resource to really make that tour worthwhile for you. And then, of course, sign up for our blog as well, because I am sharing all of this information with the world so that you can be more powerful in your journey towards college admissions. Okay. All right. So that's it. I hope to see you on July 21st at 4 p.m. for continuation of the college admissions terminology. All right. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. And like I said, see you on the 21st.